A screaming wall of ice and wind rolled down the jagged ridges of Clythar. 9. Shredding the night with shards of frozen glass. Lieutenant Aaron Vale tightened his shredded parka and cursed the wrecked shuttle behind him. Its smoking husk would be buried by snow within hours. He wasn't alone. Across the fireless shelter of the rocks, the alien girl shivered, her slender frame wrapped in a thin emergency cloak. Her skin glowed faintly in the darkness, a pearly sheen that looked more fragile than armor. She was young, maybe his age, maybe younger, her violet eyes filled with both defiance and fear. Her name was Lyra. They were supposed to be enemies. Only hours earlier, their ships had torn each other apart in orbit. His squad was gone. So was hers. Fate had thrown the two survivors together in the worst place imaginable, a death world of storms and ice with a temperature dropped low enough to crack metal. Aaron's body was already going numb. He pressed himself against a jagged stone, his teeth chattering. This is how I die, he thought grimly. Frozen on an alien rock with my enemy sitting 10 feet away. And then she spoke. You won't survive the night like that, Lyra said softly, her breath misting in the air. Aaron shot her a glare. What do you care? Her mandibles twitched in something that wasn't quite a smile. Because if you die, I'll be alone. If I'm alone, I'll die too. She reached into her pack and pulled out a long, cocoon-like fabric bundle. Alien make, shimmering faintly with heat-trapping fibers. A sleeping bag. She unzipped it halfway and met his eyes. Share it with me? Aaron blinked, stunned. What? Your body heat, mine. Together, we may survive. Alone, neither of us will see dawn. The storm howled around them. Snow already buried the rocks. His muscles were stiff, his fingers clumsy. He hesitated, then saw the honesty in her trembling eyes. He swallowed. Fine, but if this is some trick. Then you'll freeze anyway, she said simply. The sleeping bag. It was awkward at first. The bag was built for one, not two, and squeezing inside meant pressing against her far more closely than he ever expected to be with an alien. Her body was surprisingly warm. Her skin wasn't smooth like a human's. It was faintly ridged, texture like soft scales. She smelled faintly of ozone and spice, a scent that made his head swim. Aaron shifted uncomfortably, his face inches from hers. This is insane. Lyra gave a soft laugh. Survival often is. Minutes dragged into hours. The storm raged on outside, but inside the cramped cocoon, warmth slowly returned to Aaron's limbs. He realized he could feel her heartbeat against his chest. Fast, steady, alive. For the first time since the crash, he felt a sliver of hope. Conversations in the dark. As the night deepened, silence became unbearable. Aaron found himself whispering, Why were you fighting us? Lyra's eyes opened, glowing faintly in the dark. Because my people told me you would destroy us if we did not strike first. Aaron frowned. That's what they told us about you. Her expression softened, sadness flickering across her face. Perhaps we are both victims of lies. He studied her, noticing how young she looked when she wasn't bristling like a soldier. She was scared, just like him. They talked for hours, voices muffled by the storm, about their homes, their families, their fears. Lyra told him of her world, with seas that glowed under 3 moons. He told her about Earth's sunsets, the taste of fresh bread, the sound of city streets. The more they spoke, the less she seemed like an enemy. At one point, she shifted closer, her breath warm against his neck. I thought humans were monsters, she whispered. But you're just you. Aaron chuckled weakly. I thought the same about you. The morning after, when dawn broke, the storm had passed. Their cramped shelter was half buried in snow, but they were alive. Aaron emerged from the sleeping bag shivering but not frozen, his body humming with life. Lyra crawled out after him, her face pale but determined. They exchanged a look, half disbelief, half triumph. We survived, Aaron murmured. She gave a tired smile. Because we trusted each other. But their relief didn't last. On the horizon, dark shapes moved. Not the wind, not the storm. Raiders, survivors from her fleet, armed, hostile, searching. Aaron's heart sank. If they found him, they'd kill him. Lyra saw his fear. She stepped in front of him, her small frame shielding him. Stay behind me. Aaron blinked. What are you? They will listen to me, she said, because I will tell them you saved my life. The confrontation. The raiders surrounded them within minutes, weapons raised. Their leader barked something in a harsh alien tongue, pointing at Aaron. He is the enemy, one soldier shouted in translation. Kill him. Lyra raised her chin. No, he is under my protection. The soldiers hesitated, stunned. You would protect a human? He shared his warmth when I would have frozen, Lyra declared fiercely. Without him, I would not stand here. If you kill him, you kill my honor. Silence fell. The soldiers glanced at each other, uncertain. In their culture, honor was sacred. Aaron stood still, hardly daring to breathe. Finally, the leader lowered his weapon. Very well. He lives for now, because of you. The bond. That night, they camped with the raiders. Aaron stayed apart, wary, but Lyra sat beside him, her gaze steady. You see, she said softly, one night, one sleeping bag. It changed everything. Aaron gave a shaky laugh. You make it sound simple. It is, she said, touching his hand lightly. Sometimes survival is not about fighting. It's about sharing warmth. He looked at her, really looked, not as an alien, not as an enemy, but as someone who had trusted him with her life. And in that moment, he realized the truth. The war wasn't about species. It was about fear. And maybe, just maybe, they had found a way to fight it. Epilogue. Weeks later, Aaron was rescued by a human patrol. When they asked how he had survived, he only smiled faintly. I shared a sleeping bag, he said. They laughed, not understanding. But he remembered the storm, the warmth, the whispered truths in the dark. He remembered the alien girl who had shown him that enemies could become something more. And though their paths diverged, he knew the galaxy had changed forever. Because on one frozen night, two enemies had chosen to survive together.